2 goals then for Diogo Jota on the back of those 3 for Portugal in the last couple of weeks. 8 now in 13 Premier League games for Liverpool. Let's hear from him after that win against Arsenal.
You go in the race for Champions League places. Just how important and how good was that performance and result?
Yeah, very important. Obviously, I said last game, I think to think about higher spots in the table, we need to do our job is to win every single game until the end. If we do that, I think we have a chance to be there.
And was it hugely important that you took full advantage with Chelsea slipping up earlier in the day?
Yeah, I won't specify that game. I think if we do our job, I think we have high chances to be there, because it's very hard to win in the Premier League. So today we did our job. Let's go to the next one.
Well, they frustrated you until you came on. That's your 4th header in 3 games. You're becoming a specialist.
Yeah, sometimes you go a long time without certain type of goals, but most important is I was there to make a difference, and that's what I want to do always.
How good was the ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold for the goal?
Unreal. I think not just him, we have very good crossers in the team. We need to take advantage of that. Today it worked, and I hope it can work in the future as well.
What made it such a good ball? Was it that he hit it early? Was it the pace of it, or both?
Everything. It just timed my run, so it made it a lot easier to me to finish.
And for you as well, can you do no more than that when you come off the bench to score 2 goals?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you start on the starting 11 or on the bench. You need to be ready to make an impact, and that's what I did today, and that's what I want to do always.
What does it add to the 3 points, the fact that Liverpool played so well today, was so dominant in the match?
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't. I was expecting a bit more possession from the Arsenal team. They get us used to that, but that showed that we pressed really well as well, and we didn't allow them to have that possession. And in the end, we controlled the game with the ball and with the goals.
And what does this give you as well ahead of a massive game in the Champions League this week?
Yeah, it's really important. I think is another clean sheet, really important as well. Everyone is working hard and well, and now we have that hard game against Real, and we want to do that as well.
Yeah, that's up and coming in the week. Aston Villa home next in the Premier League next weekend. But Liverpool delighted to have him back. We saw again why today. His introduction, less than 3 minutes with just his 2nd touch of the game.
Stunning. It's been a stunning arrival, really. You just think back at what might have been if he hadn't got injured for a period of time. I mean, if you think about the impact he made straight away and what he's done in recent weeks as well, plus for his national team, I mean, it's quite a staggering impact. It's looking like a brilliant piece of business from Liverpool to pay all that money for someone so young as well. But he's scoring all types of goals with his head, with his left foot, with his right foot. He can play in midfield as an attacking player, or he can play up there instead of someone like Firmino. So he's been a brilliant signing, and someone that I think Liverpool can hang their hat on now for years to come, because that trio of players, Salah, Mane and Firmino, you know, they're all of a certain age where they will, you know, obviously still going to be getting 4, 5, 6 good years out. But you have got to start thinking about youngsters coming through as well now. And there's one now that Liverpool, as I say, can hang their hat on for about another 10 years. And speaking from experience, you've both been there, you've spoken to me about it at Arsenal. Those front 3 have been magnificent, and they haven't been challenged for 4 seasons. Liverpool fans don't sit there and say, well, maybe you should leave him out or maybe you should leave him out. Now this fella's here. And there's a nice problem for Jurgen Klopp now with the 4 of them.
Yeah, it is. And, you look at Roberto Firmino, who's one of my favourites. And because of maybe his goal output, which, people can have a dig at him for, but, like, what he brings to the team is magnificent. But what Jota brings, apart from the work rate, the press, which he done brilliantly at Wolves as well, is the goals, the impact. You know, you look at him now, you're feeling like, yeah, he's probably another one of those players that Liverpool have got who could come on, and he could easily get a 15, 20 goal a season. You could see that with him. And, you know, we're talking about not being there, like, for so long, and he's just in scoring goals, and you just feel like he's going to be a mainstay without a shadow of a doubt.
So this huge game looming in the week then, at home to Real Madrid. Who's Liverpool's front 3 for you?
He plays, definitely. I think he played before today, if I'm honest.
Really?
He's come back from international, scored 3 goals in 2 games, I think.
Yeah.
you know, most managers this weekend so far have rested a lot of their players that have played a lot of international football. Jurgen Klopp did exactly the same. So he went for a bit of freshness with Firmino in there, but I think he's going to start. And who would have thought that? You know, we've spoken about the 3 centre-forwards or 3 attacking players for Liverpool, never been challenged. You would have thought, OK, this lad's coming in as backup, he'll come on a little bit. But in the blink of an eye, as I said, he's had a decent-sized injury in the middle of his short career as well. So in the blink of an eye, a little bit before that injury and a little bit after, all of a sudden, I think, if it was Champions League final tomorrow, he's one of the first names. He's certainly starting.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you can't disagree with that. And like you look at the 3 guys up front, they're getting to that stage of their career where, you know, in 29, 30s. So you do need to start to get that next person coming in, and he's obviously there. He's ready to go.
Now, talking of national teams, as Michael mentioned with Diogo Jota on Portugal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, of course, didn't have that issue with England. He's just described that cross as unreal.
Yeah.
And you saw the reaction from Trent Alexander-Arnold as if he'd scored the goal. What did that tell you?
Well, it was funny because they asked him the question of what could he do with that ball. There was one person in the box, and Trent, he didn't even need to touch it. He actually made the run to try and get in to slot one across. Didn't come, so he came back. And as he came back, first time, whipped it in. That kind of quality. And when you're looking at, like, England and Europa, like the Euro League, what's it called again? What's it called?
European Championship.
European Championships. That's what you need. You need somebody who's going to be able to, half a chance, get a ball in the box when there's one person maybe in there, and he's going to hit it right. And that's what Trent can do. And when you listen to Gareth saying it's form, I cannot believe it. I cannot have that. Because he's picked players who have been terrible in respect of form for their clubs, and he's saying that Trent is not in there because of form. I'd rather him just say he's not maybe the kind of player I want, because I don't mind, like, Reece James. Of course, he's been brilliant this season, but you've got people, Kieran Trippier, who's not played too many games, but 5 games since Christmas, and he's in there. Eric Dyer has not played last 4 or 5 games. Harry Maguire had a poor time, you know what I mean? And he's picked them. And then he's saying Trent's not in there because of his form. Absolute rubbish.
Yeah, and Jurgen Klopp said yesterday he was stunned that Trent Alexander wasn't in the squad. Was there a bit of emotion and reaction in that we saw from Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Definitely. I mean, he's been stuck training probably with a few reserve team players, 1 or 2 players like James Milner that's retired from international football. I mean, it's quite demoralising when you see yourself as one of the best players, people talking about him as the best right-back in the world over the last couple of seasons. Then all of a sudden you're stuck back at base and all your mates are away and you're training with some of the young lads, and it's not easy at all. You start looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking, wow, you know, have I got to do something different or whatever? But as Wrighty said, there's nobody, there's very, very few people anyway in the Premier League or world football that can knock a ball in like that. If you're looking at an attacking fullback, an attacking right-back, he's the best we've got in England. Now, hands up, if Gareth Southgate wants a more defensive player, then that's fine. Wan-Bissaka's probably a better defensive player. Reece James is a better defensive player. But in terms of the whole package, it can't be many better than this.
But the thing about it is, Michael, we're talking about a defensive right-sided player who can put the ball anywhere you want it in the box. Now, you've got a manager who wants to play a pivot, the 2 in front of the back 4, whatever it is. So if you've got a right-sided fullback who can get forward like that, surely you just say, when Trent goes, you go over to the right. Why does it have to be like, oh, he can't defend or he can't? You make provisions for somebody like him to be in the team because he does that. He puts the ball in places where your forwards are going to have opportunities to score. It doesn't make sense to me. I just can't make sense of it.
But for a young player as well to produce this performance, and when you're looking at some of the highlights from it today, that shows a great personal, mental reaction, doesn't it? To the disappointment you're talking about.
Absolutely. But playing in your club is nice. You know, you feel loved, you feel cared for, you feel at home. You're in front of your own people, with your own friends. You know, it's always nice to have that feeling. And so I don't think that, you know, sometimes you go away with international football and you know, there's pressure on, you get criticised by the whole country. It's so nice to come back to your club in that situation, feel like you're loved again. So he'll feel that. He's comfortable at his club. And when you put in performances like that and balls like that, I mean, you know, it all goes down to what he says in terms of, you know, you make allowances. And if you've got someone that good, I totally agree. You've got to make allowances. But, you know, we've got so many good right-backs and so many different types. If you're going for defending alone, Wan-Bissaka is probably the best full-back in the country.
And
if you're going for attacking alone... No, he's not in. If you're going for attacking alone, it's Trent. If you're going for a mixture of both, then it's probably, Reece. You know, Reece, exactly. And then you've got Kyle Walker as well that can do a good job there. So it is the one position in English football that we have just got so many world-class players.
Yeah, but Michael, we have got world-class players there, but he's one of them. And for him not to go, I think that would be a big, big mistake for him not to be involved, because he's, for me, in respect of the delivery, is the best. He's the best of them. Like you mentioned, Reece James got the best of both worlds, but he's the best at what he does, and probably, for me, as from a right-sider, in the world.
I missed out Trippier. I mentioned all those and I missed out Trippier, who's probably got the shirt at the moment. He certainly played in the last World Cup. It just shows you we've got 5 players there that are exceptional. But I agree. He is world-class, Trent. You know, he's got things that you just can't give players. Someone to knock a ball in like that, you know, there's only 3 or 4 players that I can remember in my career that can do that. A Gerrard, a Beckham, of course, Trent. You know, I'm struggling to think of many others. They're that good. De Bruyne can do it.